It's Wednesday whinge time. To Plugshare or not to Plugshare? That is the question. Some time ago I did a video on charging etiquette, and if I remember, I'll try and link it up here. Now back then I was saying please register with Plugshare, check in and so on. Now there's a lot more Teslas, a lot more EVs around. There's only, I think, about 40 or so houses in my street, and there's already another Tesla Model Y in the street. When I first got my Model 3, which is about 3 years ago, I was the only one in the whole area, and there was one Tesla destination charger at my local shops. I would always register on Plugshare, but I was about the only one that would ever use it. Now in just this area there are dozens of electric vehicles, mostly Teslas, and with the destination chargers we have got yet one. There's another one about 6 k's away. It's a single one in one direction. There's another one about 15 k's in another direction, east, and south is about 25 k's. There's two, but they're only 7 kilowatts, not 11 kilowatts like the other ones are. So in that and also 25k south there's actually an RAC 50 kilowatt fast DC charger. When it's working, it tends to not work for months on end. So there's a dearth of chargers, and they're always in use because there are now so many electric vehicles, mostly Teslas, as I've said. And the problem is getting worse. We are getting more and more Teslas. Just in Western Australia, we are getting between 300 and 400 new Teslas per month. You just look at what's coming off the boat at Fremantle Docks. So, as I said, in where I'm living, in my area, there's quite a few more cars now, dozens. So whenever I go down to my local shop, it's usually in use. Now look, that's fine, but they're not registering on Plugshare. So there's absolutely no point in checking on Plugshare to see if these destination chargers are in use. And the problem I had the other day was I'd done a lot of kilometres. I mean a lot. I'd stopped at one place and used a fast DC charger, and I was getting home, the sun was setting, I needed to go to the shops for some groceries because we'd been away for quite a few days, and I looked at my charge state and it was getting down and it was in the low teens, and I thought, geez, no sun, I really do need to go and see if I can get a bit of a charge whilst I do my groceries. Got there, nah, it's in use. Checked on Plugshare. I had no idea when they were going to get back because they hadn't registered or put in on Plugshare that they'd be going to be 1 hour or whatever. And we've had instances there and others of people abusing it. They turn up, they plug in their Model 3 or Model S, get out an electric scooter or get picked up by somebody else and disappear for 4 hours. They can get a free full charge to 90 or 100% in the 4 hours that they're gone. That is abusing the system, and you get into the situation where like I was, you're desperate for a charge because I was going to be there for half an hour to an hour, buy some groceries, take them home, go out again. There was no sun around at the time either. So I managed to get a few percent at home, go out, come back later on in the evening, and I'm down to basically single digits on the charge, all because there was somebody parked in the thing and I had no idea how long they were going to be. So what do I want to see? Personally, I think every EV owner at the moment needs to be considerate of other EV owners and put it on Plugshare. Now, this is going to be controversial. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people putting comments down below. Oh, it's not legal, you don't need to do it. Well, no, it's not a legal requirement. It's just a respect thing. It's being considerate to other road users. You don't go to a petrol station, park at the Bowser and piss off home. No. The petrol station owners probably wouldn't let you anyway. So why should it be any different at EV chargers? And I'm not going on about these things being iced. That's a completely different subject. But EV owners should not be EV holes. By all means, look, plug in. Yes, that's what it's there for. But other people who come along who may be desperate would be nice to know that, oh, you're only going to be another 15 minutes or so. That will be great because I can park there, come back in 10 or 15 minutes and wait for you to come and unplug. Then I can get some charge. Although these are all free, it would be nice if people registered on Plugshare. If they're paid, it probably doesn't matter because you're paying for the power, and with the superchargers you pay idle fees if you're still there when the charging stopped. I think you got about a 5-minute grace period, and then it's $1 a minute or something ridiculous. That encourages people to get in their car and move it. So, do you believe people should register on Plugshare? Personally, I think it would be nice. I do it just about every single time. There has been the odd one where I've forgotten, I will admit, but we're not all perfect. And I understand that you put it in for, say, an hour and you get held up. This happens. You might have a doctor's appointment. Well, we all know how long they take, don't you? You're usually running an hour late there. And it's happened to me on odd occasions. I've put in half an hour or an hour. I've gone off. I've had to go to the travel agents and the bank, and I get held up in both. What I then do, if I notice on Plugshare it's been checked out, I go back in, check in again and say apologies, got held up or whatever. What do you think? Should we use Plugshare? Certain chargers, free chargers like ChargeFox operated ones, you can tell whether they're in use or not through the app, or whether they're broken or not. That was the problem I had the other day. I was going to go to some ChargeFox ones. They were broken. You don't find too many petrol stations where the pumps are broken very often. Tesla superchargers, look, that would be great. Here in Western Australia, we've got 4. They're all miles away from me. It takes me, the closest one is about 40 to 45 minutes drive. That's an hour and a half round trip just to go to a supercharger. There's the next one's about an hour's drive, so that's a 2-hour round trip just to go and get a charge. By the time I got back, I'm half empty again, so there's no point. Just lost my train of thought there because the camera shut off. So I had a chat with the shopping centre manager. They've just put 1.25 megawatts of solar panels on that will be commissioned this month, December 2022. And he was complaining about the cost of running this free service that a lot of people are abusing. As I've said, there's quite a few people who just go and plug in for 4 hours and they'll get up to their limit and then they'll come back and go home because they live in the area. That is not the right thing to do. I think for these free chargers, 1 hour maximum limit should be applied. And I've discussed it with him and he said, yeah, that's a good idea, but he doesn't know how to enforce it. We could put a sign up, but if you're that sort of person that goes and plugs in and goes home and comes back to collect your car when it's got a full charge, you're going to ignore those signs anyway. And these people do not register on Plugshare, so you've got no idea whether they're going to be 10 minutes or 4 hours. To me, that is completely and utterly wrong. What do you think? I mean, I think it's wrong. Maybe you think it's perfectly alright to go and block all these free chargers. What do you reckon? Should we charge for these free chargers? Even if it is a nominal amount, it might stop people abusing it. Maybe if they charge 20 cents a kilowatt, that's about what it is at home at night for me. So I charged up at night after I got home with very little. I put it up to about 60% because I didn't need very much the next day. As I've said, 20 cents a unit, 60 kilowatt hours in this battery, $12. $3 per 100 kilometers because I've got the 400 kilometer range. $3 per 100k. Price of petrol, that's probably about 1.5 litres. Price of diesel, it's only just over a litre of diesel. So you know, what do we do? How do we stop these people abusing the system as it is at the moment? We don't have enough chargers. Now in Western Australia, the state government has just started to put in fast DC chargers, and they've just started on the first 3. Kalbarri, Northampton, Geraldton. I think those are the 3 that are going in. It's up north a bit anyway. And they're going to be 75 to 150 kilowatt chargers. Unfortunately, I've got no idea how reliable they're going to be. Who's going to fix them if they go wrong? Because certainly at the one that's 25 k's from my home, the fast DC charger, it's a 50 kilowatt one. People in that area are vandals. They unplug, pull the thing out and they swing it around and smash it, and then of course it's totally unusable. Down further south in a place called Margaret River, there are 3 or 4 Tesla superchargers. They got smashed. You know, I mean, how do we stop these people from smashing the few that we've got in Western Australia? One solution, as I see it, is converting petrol stations into EV charging stations. Now, Ampol, with its Amp Charge, have just started that. They've put in 1 unit in Belmont in Perth. 1. They're charging an arm and a leg for it to use. I think it's 60 cents per kilowatt. 60. That's 3 times what I pay at home. So that 1.5 litres per 100k equivalent becomes 4.5 litres per 100k. Now, whilst that's still cheaper than owning a car, because most cars will only do at best the 5 litres per 100k. I think that they're probably trying to rip people off. I don't know what the cost of running these things is. They're not cheap to buy. 150 kilowatt chargers are in the 30 to 50,000 Australian dollar mark, plus installation, and then you got to put the power in. So possibly 60 cents is a reasonable amount. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Most of the other chargers, I mean, the one that I used when I was out and about a week ago, doing a long journey and a trip and sightseeing, it was a 350 kilowatt charger. Obviously my Model Y can only take maximum 170, but because I couldn't pre-condition the battery, it took at best 90 kilowatts in. Now that was 60 cents per kilowatt going into the battery, but because I'm an RSC member and it's run by ChargeFox, I get and I got the 20% discount on that, and that brought it down to 48 cents. Now I don't mind paying for the power. I used to pay for diesels and everything like that to fill up my BMW X5s. That wasn't cheap. I had Prados and Land Cruisers before that, and when you're putting in 150 litres at a time, back then diesel was a lot cheaper than it is now, but I'd be spending 300 Australian dollars to fill up my car now. That would get me about 900 k's possibly. So what's the solution? Let me know your thoughts below. Do we start charging for these free chargers? Do we insist people use Plugshare so that the other users that get there that are desperate can know how long they're going to have to wait to continue their journey? You see, that's the trouble. You're going on a journey and you get somewhere and somebody's parked there for 4 hours. It's the only charger around, and you haven't got enough power to get to the next charger because it's 25 kilometers down the road. What are you going to do? Modern day problems, eh? I don't know. Well, look, that's probably it for me Wednesday whinge. Probably been a bit night's move thinking, schizophrenia. I don't, but you know, that was the feeling I've got sometimes when I'm recording these off the cuff. So thanks very much for listening to my whinge, and don't forget, click that like and subscribe button below, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you.